MyEcoLife.jp. Alex and, is it Alex? Sorry?
Yes,
Yeah,
Alex.
okay, good. Alex and Mommy from Canada, living in Hokkaido, making vegan candles, soy candles, and now just launched MyEcoLife.jp, selling eco goods, sustainable goods. We're so happy you guys are doing what you're doing. So we want to deep dive into what you're doing, how you're doing it. I think we were talking about the candles.
Yeah, we were just talking about my wife recently started doing some workshops as well, so other people in our area can start making their own candles, which is a lot of fun. It's fun for kids too because usually we get some moms and the kids that come together and they can do it together and make a candle, and they have a lot of fun choosing the flowers and yeah.
That's nice. Has she transitioned into online workshops during the coronavirus, or is that too hard?
Yeah, we haven't done that because we kind of thought about it for a bit, but we didn't really know because the way it works is people have the opportunity to choose like the flowers that they want and the scent that they want, and to do it online, there wouldn't be a lot of option.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've kind of just not gone that direction.
Yeah. One thing that sustainable fashion designer Clementine of Mikan Bags did is she was doing online workshops, sending all the materials in advance, and
Hmm.
then after a week doing it online, so walking people through the steps. I don't know if that would work with candle making, maybe a bit too messy.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I'm not sure how it would work, but it might be something that we would think about going forward.
But it looks like in your wife mommy's studio, she has all the beautiful dried flowers, all the materials that you need.
Yeah, exactly. She has like such a variety of flowers and smells, and it's just really easy to get that like in person opportunity to see some old faces and catch up with lots of people. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
How fun. And then in Japan as well, have you done any fairs or markets?
Yes, we did a lot in Tokyo last year and the year before, and then when we came back to Japan, we started our business back up in December, and then we were able to do some local events for a few months up until March, I believe, and then that's when the since March. Who knows when things will get going back up, but whenever they do, we're definitely looking forward to doing that.
I mean, can you give us a little introduction? What's the difference between a soy candle or a vegan candle and a standard candle?
Right, yeah. So soy candles are made from obviously soy wax, which is derived from the oil of soybeans, and we use 100% soy wax in all of our candles. Most traditional and common candles are made from paraffin wax, which is derived from petroleum. And yeah, that's something most people don't know is a lot of the candles you'd buy at a store are actually derived from petroleum, and then you go and burn that inside of your house, which is obviously, I wouldn't say it's the way to go for somebody who wants to use a scented candle, but we use 100% soy wax in our candles, and even some candles that you find at a store that are soy wax candles, they're actually usually mixed with paraffin wax as well, because the paraffin wax can absorb more of the scent than
Ah.
soy candles does. So it actually makes it cheaper for large companies to mass produce a mix of soy wax, paraffin wax candle, because they don't have to use as much as the scent to get the stronger smell, and then they can make it cheaper, obviously. But we use 100% soy wax in our candles, and one of the benefits of soy wax is obviously it's a cleaner wax that you're burning in your house, but also it burns at a lower temperature than paraffin wax, so it burns slower and for a longer time, so you can enjoy your candle for a longer period of time than if you were using a paraffin wax candle.
That's really interesting. It's just something I think most people don't realize or don't think about when they
Yeah,
buy candles.
definitely. Well,
Yeah.
you would never think you're burning wax that's derived from petroleum. Like I
Mm,
was pretty shocked when I learned that the first time.
yeah.
And yeah, soy wax is definitely the best wax. Obviously, we're vegan. There's other waxes that aren't derived from petroleum that I like, for example, beeswax. But beeswax is obviously not vegan. And my wife and I both being vegan, we want to stick to 100% soy wax. And then the other thing is there's palm wax, but palm wax is usually taken from Malaysia and Indonesia, I believe, and that kind of affects the local farmers in the area who have to focus on building palm trees instead of whatever they would locally grow there naturally.
Yeah, palm oil is a big environmental concern,
Yeah,
and palm oil is in everything. It's in
yeah,
all sweets and snacks and everything, so it's definitely something to try to avoid if you can.
yeah.
I'm showing right now the Halloween candles. Now
Oh, yeah.
you have glass containers, but you also have like a really nice reusable metal container.
Yeah, those pictures would be from Canada last year,
Mm-hmm.
and we have yeah, we have glass containers with metal lids, and they're great because we use them, and you can send them back to us, and we can make candles again, or you can just clean it out and reuse the container yourself. And then we also have aluminum containers as well that can be used, and the same thing, you can send them back to us or continue to use them for whatever you want.
Yeah, it looks like you guys are quite talented at making beautiful, like scented candles, but also really cute candles as well, like different designs and everything.
Yeah, well, especially my wife, she has the knack for that, and I guess Halloween's coming up kind of soon, so I'm sure she'll be getting some new ideas in the next couple months. And then after that, it'll be Christmas, and then that's kind of like the big season that where I guess she'll want to show her creativity.
Yeah, how fun. Yeah, Halloween and then Christmas is a very popular time for candles, both holidays. Um,
Yeah.
how do you guys source your soybeans? I always find it hard to get soybeans. Is that a trade secret? You can't tell us?
Well, we get our materials from a company in Japan who sources it from America mostly.
Mm-hmm.
So there's, I guess, this local company in Japan, but they get everything from a New York-based company that is connected to farmers in America, and then we
Yeah.
just get everything through them.
I wish we grew more soybeans in Japan. That's a really interesting story about Kikkoman soy sauce. And
Right,
the reason he moved operations to the US was because soybeans were grown there. And soybeans are just not
right.
grown in Japan. And that was many years ago.
Well, that's interesting because even the amount of food in general that's grown in Japan, I think most, like 70% of the food here is imported, I believe. So not just soybeans, but almost everything in general here.
Yeah. It would be great if we had more food security in terms of things being grown here. Oh, I have the metal containers of it's like a twisty metal container. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, it's just like a twist lid, and I think those ones are 4-ounce ones, and then we're
Mm-hmm.
also working on getting some 8-ounce ones in the near future.
What's your price range? I don't have any of the prices on screen right now.
There's like a big difference. I think they go from around 900 yen to about 3,000 yen in general. That's kind of the price range.
Mm-hmm. And then shipping around Japan. Do you ever ship abroad as well?
Yeah, we have in the past. That's kind of more on a contact us and we'll work something out basis for shipping abroad. We've made it work with some friends and family in North America, and we've had some customers in Korea and Singapore and other countries where we've been able to do that. The countries in Asia are obviously cheaper to ship to than North America, and then in Japan, it's pretty affordable to ship anywhere.
Nice. Shipping, of course, even during coronavirus was really tricky. A lot of companies were saying all shipping basically stopped for a while, but it seems like it's kind of resumed, but within Japan would be your main market, I would assume.
Exactly, yeah. We haven't had too many problems because obviously most of our customers are domestic in Japan, so it hasn't been too much of an issue. It was slower for a while, but we never had any problems getting anything to the customers, just a few delays here and there.
Nice. Where does your wife get all the beautiful flowers?
She gets them. There's a company in Tokyo when we lived there that she connected to, and it's a company that is designed to distribute to businesses, and they source all their flowers, and then you can go. We would actually go to the store when we were in Tokyo, and it's in I can't remember the name of the station, but it's on the Sobu line, and it's actually like a huge 5-story flower shop, and
Wow.
all these different people in Tokyo who use flowers in their businesses can go there and choose. And they have a website as well, so we're able to just get them to mail us the flowers we need, thankfully.
So everything's dried already before you get it?
Yeah, they do all the drying, and then we can just go in there and choose. But we're actually hoping to we've done it a little bit, but we're hoping to move on to doing all of our own original flowers as well. Finally have the space to have our own garden now since we're not in Tokyo anymore. So we're hoping that yeah, we can continue to grow our own homemade flowers and dry them ourselves and use them in our products.
Yeah, that would be great. Especially being in Hokkaido. I mean, during the winter, maybe not many flowers, but during
Yeah.
during the other seasons, you guys have a great variety of flora up there.
Yeah, actually, and even just the wildflowers are beautiful. And because the seasons are so different from the rest of Japan, like obviously Honshu and Kyushu are pretty tropical weather, I would say, compared to Hokkaido. So we have like kind of the spring, the summer, and the fall flowers, which all just they're completely different colors and styles of flowers each season. So,
Yeah, many years ago, my husband and I did a cycle trip around Hokkaido for six
right.
weeks. And it's amazing how similar it reminds me of to England, like the countryside and the rolling hills and it was
Yeah,
really beautiful. And then you have the dramatic coastline as well.
yeah, it's funny you say that because sometimes I've never been to England, but sometimes when we're driving, I'll look at some hills in the distance and I'll say, "Well, that looks like how I imagine England to look like." Yeah.
Is it very different from where you grew up in Canada?
Actually, the area where we live now and the area where I grew up in Canada, I grew up in Ontario, and I would say Tokachi and Ontario look so similar. The weather is very similar, and just the look of the landscape is very similar. The only big difference is Tokachi has lots of mountains, beautiful mountain range, and has the ocean close by, only 10 minutes away. But where I lived in Ontario, we were about a 20-hour drive away from the ocean and
Wow.
even further away from any mountains. So,
Yeah. I love being near, we're in Hiroshima and being near the ocean and the islands, and you can see the mountains, and we have the rivers. So I think so many parts of Japan are so beautiful in that way. You have the mountains and not too far from the
yeah.
ocean, right?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The landscape is just so diverse, and you can get in Canada, it's a huge country, so each area, I would say, kind of has one type of landscape that goes on for, uh, miles and miles and miles. But in Japan, it's just so many drastically different landscapes all pushed close together, so you can experience so many different beautiful places.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your new business. It's very
Sure.
exciting. Why did you decide to start? Give us some background.
Sure. So last year when we were in Canada, we went to a zero waste store in my hometown that my younger brother Julian took us to. And then when we were there, we thought it was so cool. We were able to go grocery shopping and bring all of our own containers and everything, had no packaging, and it was exactly what we were looking for. And obviously, living in Japan, it's no secret that there's a lot of issues with excess packaging and plastic waste and all this type of stuff. And that was something that we were always conscious of in Japan. And then going to my hometown and seeing this type of a store that had recently opened up that was so drastically different, it was so cool, we thought, and we just fell in love with this type of idea. And we hadn't yet heard of anything in Japan happening like that, other than a few small things going on in Tokyo. But as far as outside of Tokyo, there's not much going on like that. So we came back to Japan, and we were kind of trying to think more seriously about stuff we could do to do our part in raising an environmentally friendly, conscious thinking and just that type of stuff. And we really wanted to do something, but we weren't sure what. And then we actually went and saw a former CEO of Muji. If you, everybody in Japan usually knows the company Muji. We saw the former CEO Masaki Kanai from Muji speak, and we actually were lucky enough to meet him and have a private talk with him. And just after meeting him, we thought, oh, they started this huge company, Muji, with only one store locally, and then they were able to expand it to this huge company that's been able to have a huge impact on so many different things. Not to say Muji is a perfectly environmentally friendly company, but I think that they've done a lot of things. They've helped funded some projects that have done a lot of great things. And for them just to hear about their journey, it kind of inspired us. Oh, we don't need to rely on these bigger corporations, I guess, to do. We can just try and make our own way and do it that way. And we decided to start a business more so because there were a lot of things that we were using in our own life that people would ask us about. And where did you get this? Where did you get that? And they just weren't readily available in Japan. So we wanted to give an opportunity to people who lived, especially in the more rural areas of Japan, where they might not be able to find this type of stuff. We wanted to give them an opportunity to have access to this stuff and kind of give them the opportunity for the first steps in moving towards a more eco-conscious lifestyle, I suppose.
Definitely. Your story reminds me of Jack Bales from Alishan Tengu.
I've never heard of him, actually.
Really? So
Yeah.
Alishan Tengu has been a huge resource for vegetarians, vegans in Japan for over 30 years. And
Wow.
he's based in Saitama, I believe, not too far from Tokyo. And
Yeah.
he was in the series, and he's talking about the same thing. He was importing things for his vegetarian family, and
Right.
he was starting to import for his friends. And then everybody's like, why don't you just open a shop, you know? So
Right.
it comes out of like personal need and, you know, the typical entrepreneurship reason. So really great that you guys have started this. It's going to be such a great resource for so many people looking for zero waste or plastic free or less waste options in Japan. So let's go through some of the products that you guys have.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So you have your candles,
Yeah.
right? And you have unscented and scented, I'm showing on the screen now,
Right.
and different shapes. Kind of just a typical white candle is on your EcoLife
Yeah.
shop, is that right?
Yeah. We don't have a huge selection of candle on the EcoLife website just because we kind of wanted to keep it simple for that one. And if people got an interest, then they could go to our other website for North Candles. So whenever people order candles or contact us about candles, we will let them know. Oh, by the way, we also have this other shop here where you can find the rest of our candles. Um, yeah,
Yeah, let's talk about your vegan food wraps.
sure. So those are really exciting. We just started selling those, I think, about 3.5 weeks ago. And They were something that we had been in the process of making for a long, long time. We, I guess since January, we started making them the first time. And it was kind of a journey to say the least because it took us about 7 months to start selling them actually. There were a lot of challenges that we kind of didn't see happening, but yeah, we were able to just make it happen. The biggest challenges though were the wax that we had to use and the recipes, I guess, trying to get the perfect one because you would make them and they would do a great job at what we wanted them to do, but sometimes there would be like pockets of air in the wrap and it just didn't look so appealing. And then other times we would make them and they wouldn't stick that well, and there were a bunch of challenges, but thankfully they've gone really well. And actually my wife just threw one into the room so you can see them right here, and she also threw me a bowl, so I guess I can show you right here. So for
Mommy
example,
doesn't want to just say hello.
she's not gonna come in. She threw in some wax wraps in a bowl and then closed the door. But you can see we have one of our wraps right here, and then a bowl, and then you can just put it in, and you kind of press your hands around the bowl and let the heat of your hands mold the wax, and then it just covers up around the bowl like that. And it's a great alternative to plastic wrap because you can use them again and again, and they're also washable, so you can wash them no problem in cold water. Um, yeah, we couldn't find these available in Japan. They were available using beeswax, but obviously as vegans we don't use beeswax. So we had heard of companies in Canada and Australia that were using vegan plant-based wax to do it. And then since we already have the candle business and my wife had some experience with wax and this type of stuff, we decided, oh, let's just try and make them ourselves. And thankfully, we were able to make them 100% vegan without the use of beeswax. And we decided that since we were looking for a long time for these type of products, because the beeswax wraps were so useful but not vegan, we just decided to try and share them with other people.
Yeah, that's great. We also had Marissa Gelengser in the series. She does Ekohachi, so using reusable wraps, but using beeswax. And she was talking about the difficult process of figuring out how to make them. So
Right.
I'm sure your process, even though the source material is a little bit different, the process is really hard to work out. It sounds like.
Yeah, I mean it was a challenge. So at the start, we tried such a wide variety of different materials, like even just different types of cotton, and trying to find the ones and the exact texture. There's a specific texture that you need to find in the fabric, and like some of them don't work and some of them do. And at the start, we went out and we just chose the designs that we liked and we tried to make wraps out of those. And we found I think we chose 12 designs at the start and only four of them actually worked out. And
Wow.
because the texture just doesn't match with the wax and it doesn't blend well into the fabric. And then after that, we kind of got an eye for which types of fabrics we could use. And then we were able to select more that were like that. The hardest thing was getting a consistency, especially with the larger sizes, because yeah, some of the larger sizes actually you need to the way we make them is using kind of an industrial heating iron and heating the wax into the the fabric so it blends into it, and getting it consistent across the fabric, an even ratio of the wax across the fabric, was a challenge for the bigger ones. The smaller ones it wasn't too difficult because it's such a small surface area, but the bigger ones you really need to get it evenly across. And yeah, that was the biggest challenge. But now that it's kind of we found a way to do it, I rely on my wife for that portion of the labor because she's a lot better than I am with handiwork. So I cut the fabric and I'll make the blend of the wax and materials, and then she applies it to the fabric and packages them. So
The fabric selection is really beautiful. Where do you find your fabrics?
we find them at some local stores in our area, and then not all of them, but most of them come from local stores in our area. And then we also recently started selling some organic cotton fabric that we source online from a Japanese company, and we're hoping to move forward kind of in the organic cotton area, but at the start we didn't have any selection in our area, and now we found some online. So we're going to continue to include more organic cotton options as we go on.
That's great. And I was surprised. I learned not too long ago that cotton and organic cotton is actually grown in some parts of Japan. Imabari, which makes towels, uses local organic cotton for many of their towels. That's why it's a bit
Right.
expensive. It's not a big amount. I'm sure there's bigger sources abroad that you would import, but it's nice to know some is grown in Japan.
Yeah, the ones we bought in Japan from the Japanese companies are actually grown in Japan, but the price of them obviously is a lot more expensive than regular cotton, and that price is reflected in the retail price, obviously. Which it's kind of tough because we want to make sure we can sell something that's affordable. So we've been trying to kind of find a balance between finding locally sourced organic cotton and an affordable price for the customer to make them actually want to use them. So that's definitely been a challenge as well.
Yeah, I think it's really beautiful. You guys have done a great job. I'm showing the selection and the prices right now on the screen. So you have a small, medium, large set that is 2,950 yen. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct. And that one has three sizes. There's the small size, which is 19 by 19 centimeters, and then there's another size, medium, 24 by 24, and a large size, which is 29 by 29 centimeters.
Yeah, that's great. And people, I mean, if you compare it to the price of plastic wrap, it's going to seem expensive. But
Yeah,
if you think you're covering your food that you want to eat again and you don't have to get the plastic leaching onto it from your plastic wrap,
yeah,
it feels better and healthier and you can use them for years. I have
yeah.
I have some of these wraps that I ordered 10 years ago from Australia before I could even find them in Japan. I'm still using them. So,
Exactly. Yeah, they actually last a long time. Like we had some that we bought in Canada, and I think that was 2 or 3 years ago, and we still actually are able to use those ones. And we're actually planning on selling a refresh set too, where we'll sell the wax blend itself, and people can just apply it themselves to refresh their wraps, or make their own if they want from their own recycled fabrics.
nice. That's a really good idea. To
Yeah,
extend the life of any product, of course, is the most sustainable. To
exactly.
use it as long as you can. Let's talk about some of your other products because I think you have a great selection for people trying to reduce waste. I like the coffee set. Can you introduce it?
Yeah, is that our French press?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. So we use that ourselves, obviously, and we started using a French press when we were in Tokyo, and then we had it break actually. The just I can't remember if it was dropped, but the glass part broke, and we were trying to think, oh, what can we do? And then we found one that doesn't use plastic at all, and it's made from just glass, wood, and metal. And we thought that was great because we don't want to use plastic if we don't have to. And we love the French press because you don't need to use coffee filters either. So we can just buy coffee and then put it in and the water, and then there's no excess waste involved that way. And you can just make coffee. And it's also, I would argue, the easiest or laziest way to make coffee as well. So that's great for us.
I love it. I've been doing this for years, and I just put the grinds right into my potters for
Yeah,
plants or right into the garden. So
exactly.
it's, I mean, of course, you have waste by getting the coffee to you, coming
Yeah,
from around the country, but around the world. But after, there really is a zero waste option with coffee press. And of course, the French presses usually see have plastic components. So this is
yeah.
a really nice version.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, coffee grounds are great. You can, for people who are doing their own compost, you can include the coffee grounds in your compost as well, or just like directly on top of your plants, and it provides nutrients to the plants. It's nice to be able to use it in the garden and return some nutrients to your vegetables.
Yeah, absolutely. When I did a tour in San Francisco of a waste center called Recology, and he
Hmm.
was saying I recommend French press to everybody in San Francisco because they're trying to do zero waste for such a
Right.
big city. And he's like, if everybody just did French press, we would have and put the grounds in their plot, planters or
Yeah,
garden, we would have so much less waste to deal with, right? It makes a lot of
exactly.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah, it really does because if you think about if you're drinking coffee every day and using a coffee filter every day, then you're using 30 filters a month, and then that will also have the plastic packaging that the filters come in, and you can just skip that entirely by using a French press.
Yeah. Oh, we have a comment from Allison. Hi, Joy and Alex. Your website is beautiful. Thank you so much. Have you been looking for local suppliers for these products?
Yeah, we try to as much as possible. Like we really want to include, especially right now we have some handmade goods obviously that are just from my wife and I, but we want to really broaden our handmade selection going forward. My wife's brother actually, I'm interested in selling some of his handmade good because he makes wooden cutlery, which is made from. He lives in Kyushu in Kumamoto, and he makes cutlery which is made from trees that have fallen down during the typhoons because they get nasty typhoons there every year. But he cuts those trees that are kind of in older people's backyards who can't move them, and then he'll recycle the wood into making cutlery. And I'm really interesting. He doesn't have an online presence, so I'm kind of interested in selling his stuff. And I'd love to find many other situations like that where we could kind of improve our handmade selection, but also give people access to Japan-based handmade artists as well.
Definitely. And using Japan wood is such a great thing to do because there's a big problem with the forests needing to be more thinned. And
Yeah,
there's still an idea that most of the wood is imported, even though it doesn't need to be. So if
right.
you can create a product like that using damaged tree wood from Kumamoto, I love that idea.
Yeah, exactly. And especially, I mean, even in like I briefly said, but in Japan there's typhoons every year, and we've all seen trees that have fallen down, and just the idea of not using that wood for something is such a would be such a waste. So if it can be reused, it definitely should be. So
Yeah, absolutely. Allison is also a Canadian, so just to
cool.
give you some idea. Your next product is also made of wood. You've got hair brushes that look really interesting.
Oh yeah, so those are cool because they're made of wood. The liner is made of rubber, and then the pins are made of bamboo, which is really cool because usually those are obviously made of plastic, and made of bamboo is pretty cool because the other thing that my wife really likes about them, aside from being made of wood for an environmental reason, but because she says when she brushes her hair, you don't have to worry about static electricity in your hair, like the feeling of your hair getting all frizzy. So that's another nice thing about those.
Yeah, great. Are those imported from somewhere or
Yeah,
made
those
in?
those ones in particular are imported actually because most of the products in Japan that use bamboo are actually not produced in Japan, which is an unfortunate reality. Um, we wish we could find bamboo products that were produced in Japan, but it's so rare because I'm not sure what's the reason. It might just be a cost thing, but I do think it's crazy that there's not a lot of manufacturers in Japan using bamboo just because it's so abundant. And actually, the thing with bamboo is it's actually uh, an invasive species and it grows more and more every year, and it needs to be cut in so many areas every year. Like even in my brother-in-law was telling me in Kumamoto, he needs to go to some older people's houses, and they need to cut bamboo along the property lines every year because wild boars will live in the bamboo forest and get closer and closer to people's houses, which is dangerous. So that yeah,
Wow.
they need to cut back the bamboo every year, but it grows so quickly that it's such a good renewable resource, and it's so abundant in Japan. I hope that there's more manufacturers
Yeah,
in
because
Japan.
also when you remodel houses in Hawaii, where I'm from, people often use bamboo flooring, bamboo walls,
Right. Yeah.
and it's just not available here. And I always think that's crazy. And sometimes when I go to Hawaii, it says Japanese bamboo flooring, and I was like, from where?
Yeah, I
I
know.
want
And
it.
yeah, I do think it's crazy because you can go anywhere in Honshu and Kyushu and see just like so much of it. And I think like a bamboo tree actually grows 80% of its size in under 1 year.
Yeah,
Like it just grows so quickly, and it's just in such a, like you see it, they're so densely like planted together that like
yeah,
it's such an abundant resource. And yeah,
yeah.
in terms of renewable sources of wood, I mean, I don't know how much better you can get than bamboo. So,
It's awesome. I love to see bamboo used in products like this. The Fradales, who I interviewed, who renovated a 130-year-old Japanese home, the
wow.
part of the property was just covered in bamboo, and
Yeah,
so they were fighting it for like 6 months trying to get
exactly.
it back. And then whenever they have takenoko, the baby bamboo,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
give it to the neighbors, and the neighbors are like, "Thank you so much. You don't eat it,
yeah,
like." So it was a really nice way for them to make the community feel nice about them being there.
yeah,
There's also a beautiful comb in the set.
yeah,
Also,
yeah.
is that wood or bamboo? I can't
That
tell.
one's made of wood, actually. There's the two bamboo ones, and then there's one that's made of wood. And I think that one, those are the only three we have, I believe. But there's
Hmm.
two that are bamboo based and one wood based. Yeah.
And the price is really reasonable. The comb at the moment is under 1,000 yen, it looks like.
Yeah, it is. I think the prices are pretty reasonable for those, especially because the quality is really good. We obviously want to sell stuff that people can use for a long, long time. We don't want to just be pushing, I guess, cheap consumerist type of stuff where people can use it for a short period of time and then it's not good anymore. So we just want to. That's kind of the main thing is we want to give people stuff that's a good quality that they can use it for a long enough time to make it worth it.
That's great. Let's talk about your travel set and the straw.
Sure, yeah. So those ones are also made of bamboo and they come in a cotton case. And then the straw, there's two options. There's one with a bamboo straw and one with a stainless steel straw. And the stainless steel straw is really great. We use them all the time, especially now that we're drinking lots of iced coffee in the summer. Um, I I think it's really convenient because you can just avoid using disposable plastic cutlery, especially like so many people get takeout or people who go even buy their lunch at the convenience store, which is so common in Japan. You can avoid, they'll just throw plastic cutlery in the bag every time automatically, but it gives you an option to just avoid that.
Yeah. Even, I mean, there's so much takeout happening right now because of coronavirus, but even if
Yeah,
you just bring your own hashi wrapped
yeah,
wrapped in furoshiki, which I have,
exactly.
and because I have kids, I have to have 3 sets with me all
Right.
the time, and then I have my reusable straws in there as well. But what having this kind of set is really useful and really nice. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's just nice that people to give people this option because like so many people, I think they wouldn't even think about it. It's just something that would come, and if you're buying your lunch every day, that's like 5 sets of plastic cutlery a week, and
Right,
then
yeah.
like 20 a month, which is just so much when you think about it, and you can
Yeah.
just cut that out entirely.
So you can't say no to the box of food, right, for takeout, but you can say no to cutlery. So it's just another way to use a little bit less waste, create a little
Exactly.
bit less waste, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so awesome. I love the set. Where is that imported from? I heard these aren't really made in Japan, some of the other shops were saying.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's another thing because that's another bamboo product. So most of them are imported from other Asian countries, like China or I guess China or what's the other country?
Thailand? Indonesia?
No, I think Vietnam and
Uh-huh.
Indonesia. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
actually. So that's another thing that, like, that's another reason why I mentioned my brother-in-law. He makes cutlery in Japan and that type of stuff. We'd love to get these types of things that are produced in Japan, and then in the future, hopefully, be 100% based on stuff made in Japan. That would be the ideal.
Yeah.
But it's kind of tough because you need to find a balance between made in Japan and stuff that would actually be useful in people's lives and
Yeah.
provide some solutions in the current time that we're in.
Yeah.
And that can be frustrating, definitely at times. But again, you kind of have to work, I guess, ideology versus reality at times to find a reasonable thing to find a solution in your life.
Yeah. And you also have reusable stainless steel bento boxes, which are really cool.
Yeah, those actually we don't have right now, but those are great, and hopefully we can get them again soon. It's really nice. Those are great quality, and then we hope to sell some wooden bentos in the future as well. But yeah, I think stainless steel is great. Unfortunately, you can't use them in the microwave, obviously, which is kind of a deterrent for some people. But the quality of stainless steel, anything, is obviously
Yeah.
really durable and can be
Wonderful.
used for years. So
Mm-hmm. Allison says, I actually took my own bento box and asked my local to put my lunch in it, and she agreed. So I've tried that
yeah,
too with some places. It's nice when it happens, but I think a lot of people, businesses are very wary of touching other people's
yeah.
containers and stuff right now. It's very tricky. But these metal bento boxes, we see these in Hiroshima's museum of the A bomb, right?
That's so cool. Wow, I didn't know
So,
that.
so we know that they are used in Japan many years ago, right? In the 1940s. So this is like a product that was used in Japan and really
Yeah.
should be used in Japan again, for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting because actually, if you look at so many of the problems with, I guess, waste and sustainability, so many of the solutions actually are found in an old traditional Japanese lifestyle. Like, Japanese history is like so many great things for like sustainability and just reusing stuff and like living in a connection with like the availability of resources. And yeah, I think it's kind of uh, gotten away from that obviously in Japan. There's a lot of, plastic and stuff like that in Japan and a lot of waste. But I think a lot of solutions, not just for stuff you use in your life, but like food and so many things, it's just people just need to look backwards to go forwards, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Caillou Package, one of the guys who was a guest in the series as well, he's trying to make bento boxes out of wood or bamboo,
Right.
and get that replaced in the shops as well.
That'd
Yeah,
be amazing.
there's a lot of great innovation. Let's talk about your razors. Razors are a great idea.
Yeah, those are nice because obviously razors are, the ones most people use are made from plastic, and that's another thing that you can just run through so much plastic without even really thinking about it. And then if you're using stainless steel or I think they're made from brass actually, those ones, but brass and stainless steel. But yeah, that's just another one. They're super high quality and durable and can last a long, long time. And you as far as we see, I wouldn't see a reason for ever needing to buy a razor again. I'm sure the ones we use now are going to last us the rest of our life. I'd imagine they're so durable. The only thing you need to replace is the blades themselves, and other than that, there's no need for a plastic razor, which is great.
But the blade is also metal, so the blade
Yeah,
can be recycled,
exactly.
right, after.
Yeah, the blade's metal and the packaging is entirely paper, so it can
Yeah, it
all
looks
be
great.
recycled. Yeah,
Yeah, awesome. Let's talk about body stuff,
sure.
body
Yeah,
cleaning. You've got a loofah here.
yeah. So we've got a few different actually. There's the one that's like the regular loofah looking one, and then there's also a sponge that's made from loofah, which is really great and has been super popular. A lot of people like using like loofah because it's obviously plant based and compostable, and it's just easy to use. But the actual natural loofahs, some people aren't huge fans of them because they're, I guess, kind of rough, and little bits of the loofah break off, and some people just aren't fans of that, which is why we also offered the sponge, which is really cool because you can get like a pretty realistic sponge, and it works great, and you can use it, and packaging it is easy because it comes dry and compressed and really small, and then it expands when you add water to it, and you can use it, and when you're done with it, you can just throw it in your compost and it'll biodegrade naturally.
Right, awesome. And you've got scrubbing brushes for washing up.
Yeah, though we've got some. Are those the wooden ones you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those ones actually we use those for washing dishes,
Mm-hmm.
and those ones are great. We've been using that for over a year now, and you can just replace the head over time. They do last a long time though. We've been, I think we've been using ours for over a year, and we've only gone through. We're on our second head, our second brush head, so it lasts a long, long time, which is great. And the bristles are also made from sisal, which is a type of plant. So they're made from metal, wood, and sisal, which is great. So there's no plastic in those. A lot of the time they have plastic nylon bristles, but it's nice to get some made from sisal.
So you said you can replace the bristles? Is
Yeah,
that possible?
so ours is different from the one you have there because the head actually comes off.
I
Yeah,
would like to replace this because this is maybe like 10 years old and all
right.
the bristles are worn down in one side. So
Yeah,
this is a face brush that I got
right.
from Lush many years ago.
It's looking like it's held up pretty well for 10 years, though, I'd say. Like, it looks in great shape.
How do you fix that?
Yeah. But the ones that we have, it's got a metal holder around the brush, and you just
Okay,
remove the brush and you can put a new one on.
nice. And the price isn't bad. It's just over 1,000 yen. And then one with a replacement head is 1,800, looks like.
Exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can also buy the heads themselves as a standalone. And some people, if you buy I think some people want to buy them just alone and then see how they like it, and then they can just continue to order replacement heads from there on in the future.
Awesome. Let's talk about teeth.
Sure, yeah. So we have obviously we have toothbrushes and we have dental floss. The dental floss is really cool because it's actually made from bamboo fiber and comes in a glass container. So there's no plastic at all. Usually people use nylon dental floss, obviously. And like I said, the one that we have available is from bamboo fiber. So it's completely made from plants and can be composted after, and you don't have to worry about that making plastic waste. But yeah, it's really cool. And then the toothbrushes we have are made from bamboo. The bristles are made from nylon on those, which is unfortunate because there's other options available that don't use plastic, but they're usually made from animal hair. And since we're vegan, we don't want to sell those personally. Those, I guess, are compostable, but we want to stick to vegan products only. So we're hoping that we can find some vegan solutions in the future that don't use nylon. But the handles themselves can be composted. You just need to pull the nylon bristles out and then recycle the bristles, and the handle can be composted, obviously. And then we also have a travel case that's made from bamboo as well that you can put your toothbrush inside, which is great because lots of people like to brush their teeth, obviously, at work after lunch and stuff, and that's really convenient for bringing to work with you.
Yeah, it's so stylish. I love that with the holder and everything.
Yeah,
You don't have any eco alternative to the plastic toothpaste tube, do you?
not yet. We want to try and figure something out. That's like another thing we're working on for the future is going to be toothpaste and soap and shampoo and that type of stuff. We haven't gotten there yet, but we're kind of building slowly every month, and then hopefully we'll get to that in the next few months.
Nice. I haven't seen any alternatives. So my son and I are using baking soda with turmeric,
Right.
which is a
Yeah.
little too hardcore for my daughter and my husband. They're like,
Right.
no, not using that.
Especially turmeric has quite
It's
a strong.
like brushing your teeth with curry a little
Yeah.
bit, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Salty curry.
Yeah.
And then you could go straight baking soda, which of course you don't need all the containers, but it's
Right.
hardcore. You know, you
Yeah.
gotta be committed.
Yeah. That's for sure.
But the dental floss, I've never seen reusable dental floss and plant-based dental floss. This is really cool.
Yeah, it is cool because it's made from the fiber of bamboo, and then it is really cool. And the thing is, it's not I would say it's not as strong as nylon dental floss, so you do have to use more than if you're using nylon dental floss. But obviously, if you're trying to avoid using plastic, it's the better way to go. Even if you are using
Yeah.
more, you're avoiding using plastic. So.
Such a beautiful little container too that you can refill. And
Yeah,
you
and we also offer the refills for the floss itself, so you can
I
continue
saw
to use
that.
it again and again.
Yeah, awesome. One last product here, the earbuds.
The
Ear
ear.
cotton buds for ear.
Oh, right. Oh, yes, the right. Yeah. Yeah, those are great because those are also made the base of them is made from bamboo also, and they're usually made from plastic, obviously. And lots of people use those all the time, obviously. And it's just another thing that if you're using them all the time and you're throwing them in the garbage, that's a lot of plastic waste. But the ones that we have are compostable as well and biodegradable. They're made from just bamboo and cotton, and that's it. And then they also come in paper packaging, so you don't have to worry about any plastic with those, obviously. And then we're also in the future going to be looking to sell just a reusable stainless steel type one as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are you always looking around for things that are made in Japan or ideas for future products?
Yeah, we're basically every day. That's kind of like something that we're always working on, and then we just kind of do it as much bit by bit as we can afford to, and then continue to grow. And hopefully, who knows? Like we've grown quite a bit. We opened in March, and it's grown quite a bit since then. So hopefully, a year down the line, we'll be even more and have a bigger selection of stuff. But we definitely want to. I mean, I would love to have 100% of our stuff made in Japan, and hopefully that's available, sometime in the future.
Yeah, well, I know it's hard for small and medium-sized businesses, especially right now during coronavirus, but I think you guys have a great position right here with supplying these hard to find zero waste goods and vegan goods. So thank you so much for everything you guys do.
Yeah, thank you so much for the nice words, and we hope we can help people. We had the idea not as something, we not I wouldn't even say really as a business, but more just we out of a frustration in an inability to find stuff for our own life, and hopefully we're able to help other people with the same struggle in Japan.
Yeah, well, good luck to you guys and keep doing the good work. And we hope that people watching this will check out your website, North Candles and MyEcoLife.jp. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And thank you for your comments and questions. Tomorrow morning, we have Matt Alt talking about Japan pop culture and connections to sustainability. So please join us. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too.